Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Alban. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Commentary, ranking, topic, video game related, movie related, pretty much any type of thing. But this is for a review of the Crimson Rivers 2, Angels of the Apocalypse. Now, Alban, a month or two ago, had sent in a request for the first Crimson Rivers, which I liked. Because the Crimson Rivers was a French murder mystery, took place in the mountains, starring Jean Reno, who comes back for this film as the same character. I like Jean Reno. I liked him in Leon the Professional. I love him in Godzilla, 1998. That's actually one of my favorite roles of his. I really enjoy his character in that. Ronin with Robert De Niro. Even, the first Mission Impossible, he did a good job for what he had to do in that movie. But I like Jean Reno, so it's great to see him back. But in that film, it was him partnering up with this cop, Vincent Cassel, and they both have different cases, but then their different cases actually have similarities and a connection. Then they join forces, and there's all this undercurrent stuff going on in this university in the mountains in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there's some nitpicks I had with the script. Yeah, the ending, there was a bit iffy CGI with the avalanche and the mountains. But I didn't mind overall the story, the characters, at least the cast I should say, and the style, some of the little set pieces. I didn't mind the Crimson Rivers. It was a pretty decent film. The sequel, I didn't mind, but for different reasons, because this story is insane, and it's a really badly done script by Luc Besson. It does make me, Luc Besson is not that great of a writer when in terms of plot. You don't have the same director. I could be wrong, but I believe the director of the first one would go on to do Gothica, the Halle Berry movie, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. So this was a different director, but Luc Besson came up with the story. And Jean Reno comes back as a detective. You don't have Vincent Cassel back, which is disappointing. Because it would have been nice if he came back, so you've already established this partnership that was created in the first film. You could go further as in character development, get to know about the characters a bit more. You've already set up, get more of their back and forth. That was one of the parts I liked in the second half of the first movie. I wanted to see more of that, but Vincent Cassel, I don't know, maybe he read the script and said, this is just too weird for me, or maybe it was other reasons. But they got another guy to play a different character, and he was alright for what he needed to be. He was fine. I didn't really have any issues with him. It's just I wish Vincent Cassel came back because he had a little bit more charisma than this guy. But this guy wasn't bad. But this story, it was so crazy that I didn't think it was boring. I was entertained. Maybe not the way the movie wanted it to be. It kept me interested in its 90-some minutes just to go, what the hell is going to happen next? And that's not always the case. There are movies that are like, what the hell, and they just annoy me. This didn't. Maybe because, for the most part, it's well directed. Other than the fact that some shots in the daytime, they look a bit soft focus. What I mean by that is, if it's daytime and you're by a window with the light coming out through the window, things look a little bit fuzzy. Again, I don't know if it's soft focus, if that's the right term. Like, other than that, there's some good locations of old churches and tunnels, and like the cast did fine. How do I talk about this plot without... I have to give the plot away. Otherwise I can't. So I apologize if you don't want to know the plot. Spoilers right now. You have a plot that deals, at first you think it's going to be like a 7... kind of like the first Crimson Rivers. 7 serial killer, kind of like Resurrection, that film I enjoy, with Russell Mulcahy directing. Christopher Lambert starred in it, whereas a serial killer killing people to collect body parts to recreate the body of Jesus Christ himself. Resurrection just came out on Blu-ray. Really enjoy that film. I think that was Vinegar Syndrome. I have it right there. Really enjoy that one. Well, I'll just show it here. I got it right here. For those who've never seen this, I'll just bring the whole thing down so I don't... Kind of like this movie. Again, it's with Christopher Lambert. Underrated film. If you like movies like Seven, if you like Christopher Lambert from Highlander, highly recommend this. This is a really underrated... It's a good-looking Blu-ray, too. There's not a lot with features, but I wanted it for the film. Because I only had like a DVD that the picture quality wasn't that great, but really good film, Resurrection. Anyway, sorry, I just didn't want this whole thing to fall over while I was trying to get it. But the movie starts off kind of in that frame of mind where there are ideas that's kind of fun. A monk is nailing a cross and blood comes out of it and he's freaked out. And so then Jean Reno comes in with this visor that looks like a VR headset, and he sees an outline of a body behind the wall. So they find out that someone was buried behind the wall. That's why when Nail went in, there was blood coming out of it. And then they go into this case thinking, oh, there's this guy who thinks he's Jesus, and his friends they have the same name as the apostles, and they're being killed one by one. And weirdly enough, not only do they have the same names of the apostles, but they have the same type of jobs. And about, oh, well, this will cause the apocalypse and end of days. And the first half, you think these guys are being killed for this reason, and they're being killed by these monks that are really into parkour. Parkour monks. They got the hood on. It looks like they have no face. And they will... It's like... what was it? Brick Mansions. What was the original movie? District B13 or something? Like just pop, 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 pop. Or they're superhuman, so they take like 7 bullets and they don't go down. Or they got superhuman strength. Like, what is going on? Parkour monks. And... then our two leads kind of get together because they realize there's a connection with their case, kind of like the first one. But then, like, they find body parts, they find people with missing eyes, and it looks like gold or something was put into them, or some kind of metal. And then they, like, find a fishnet with body parts in them, and then, again, these monks that are the most badass monks I've seen. There's even the bit where they're in a church, and they turn around, and these monks pull out crossbows like these assholes from Resident Evil 4. That's what it looked like. I mean, like these fucking guys. You can't see it, but just on a side note, the crossbow guys are annoying in this game. And I've been playing that game recently, that's why it came to mind. But it's like, they turn around, you see the... and they get out of the way, and some guy gets porcupine with a bunch of arrows. There's like set pieces that I kind of appreciate because it wasn't boring. It was 90-some minutes. Like early on when you see the cop, he's on a case, like just showing his job. Not Jean Reno, but this other guy. So he's talking to this, I think she's a hooker, and some guy tries to fight him. And there's like a fight scene, and the song is The Stooges. What was the song? What was it? I wanna be your dog. Now come on. Now come on. I wanna be your dog. Like, that's a song I've heard in other movie trailers. I think one of the Jason Statham movies. I can't remember which one. But anyway, I'm like, okay, I like that song, and not a bad fight scene. with some like little martial arts stuff, and then like there's a point where Jean Reno is driving, and then the monks escaped into these hills, and then like this big fucking machine gun comes out and almost blows the shit out of Jean Reno's car. So it's like from Seven to then like parkour monks and crossbows to a third act where it's like the Da Vinci Code and a little bit of Indiana Jones, where Christopher Lee, yes, Christopher Lee is a French-speaking Nazi. And they're looking for this book that I guess maybe was written by God or has something to do with God. And the reason these monks are so powerful is they took amphetamines. I guess these special amphetamines, outlawed since the 40s, that doubles your strength and you feel no pain. I'm like, give me some of those amphetamines. And the monks, the reason they had no face because they had ski masks. And what does this have to do with the 12 apostles that all have the same names and jobs of the apostles, and the guy who thinks he's Jesus who's now in the hospital? They were witnesses. And the monks were told to kill the witnesses. Because Christopher Lee and his Fifth Reich wants to get this book and that's in this tower or underneath in the tunnels, and you get in there by this tower. So it's like one giant misdirection. Like the big first half of the film with the 12 apostles, and it didn't matter. They could have been Jehovah's Witness. They could have been part of a fucking furry parade. They could have been a furry fuck fest. They could have been a My Little Pony convention. They could have been fans of sci-fi convention. They could have been a bunch of fucking Star Wars fans. They could have been the outskirts of the police academy. It could have been any faction, anything. It's just they were witnesses. So it's like, why? How is it that this guy thinks he's Jesus? That's a big coincidence or convenience or whatever that this whole thing looking for. So it's like, really was like a bunch of crazy people, or like a bunch of people who think they were apostles, and they open this seal. And then I guess maybe Christopher Lee and them found out and stole the shit, or these guys found it, well, we're going to kill them off, and then we're going to steal the seal, and then we're going to get it for ourselves. It's like the two don't really connect that well. As like, what is Luc Besson doing? It's like, let me just write all this shit. I don't know how it connects, but I just write all shit, just put it together. Like I said, it was at times a little confusing. It was bonkers. But it wasn't boring. I mean, again, when I went into this film, I did not think I would see Christopher Lee as a French-speaking Nazi. I did not think the third act would be like a Da Vinci Code Indiana Jones finale, where it's booby trap and you don't take the book out. I was ready for someone to go, close your eyes and keep them shut. I was ready for someone to melt or explode. This plot is pretty. In reality, it's poorly written. It's a plot that you're gonna. I guess I just went along with it. I just kind of had a smile on my face with just how ludicrous it was. Well, again, that's weird. There are times when a film's being done with, seems like a budget. It didn't look cheap. Had nice location. Other than the soft focus at the daytime, I didn't mind the cinematography. I didn't mind the cast. I mean, there's not a lot of character development with Jean Reno. Like, you don't really get to know anything about them, sadly. I mean, it would have been nice if Jean Reno got moments to really fluctuate his character, whether it be if he has a sense of humor. Like, even the first film. The first film, there's a thing about his being iffy about dogs. There's like nothing that Jean Reno really gets to do. I think they could have done more with his character, meaning a little bit of, I don't know, just pretty much every moment is about the case. It's like there's no time to dawdle. There's no time for personal talk. There's no time for anything. Which on one hand, to me, I know some people thought it was boring. That's the last I could say is the issue. I didn't think it was boring. It was like an hour and 30-some minutes long. I did just maybe know what the hell's going to happen next. There's foot chases, like I said. There's a foot chase where the monk is parkouring off this and that and over a train yard and into a factory or abandoned building. There's a scene in a grocery store that, when a guy in a monk outfit walks to a grocery store, no one pays attention. Is that normal in France? Or where the hell, is that normal in France? If anyone who's French, can you let me know, is it normal for people to walk into a grocery store wearing a hood, monk, just walk in and no one says a word, no one notices a thing? Now, hey, wait a minute, can you... Like, if we're in a store in America and someone came in with a ski mask, I'd be like, yeah, time out. But no, if you have a hood on and a monk outfit and you don't see your face, no one takes notice. But it is like you have a chase in there, and I like the way it was directed, like camera work-wise, cinematography-wise. Is that every day you get to see badass, like, these are some of the most badass, like, monks. Like, these are the type of monks you need in Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman. Those are the type of monks you need in that. I didn't like, when it got to one boy with the church, like I mentioned this before, but still, they talk to a guy and they turn, and there's the killer monks, and they pull the crossbows. Now, granted, I don't know, you think they would already have them off the go, but I guess they waited for the cops to turn and then go. And that did remind me of these assholes in this fucking game. I might get Leon Kennedy. He'll take care of them. Maybe. If I'm playing it, maybe. He might die. And even in the third act, there's questions that arise. Spoilers. Super spoilers on the third act. The apostles are dead, which are they're just witnesses. The one witness left is the guy who thinks he was Jesus, but he's in the hospital. Someone's keeping him safe there. Jean Reno realizes, wait a minute, the bells never toll in this tower, so him and this new partner, they go in the tower, they realize there's a secret entrance, and I like the geography, I like the location, I like this, I don't know if they're sets, but I didn't. The claustrophobic tunnels, sewer type systems, I'm a sucker for that, because I always think that could be a very nice atmospheric location, whether it be in a horror film or a thriller or whatever it may be. Catacombs. It's one of the main reasons why I enjoy like As Above, So Below and some of these other movies. Or even the inner workings of The Descent. It's not catacombs, but that claustrophobic feel, I could be a sucker for that kind of bit. But then they find the amphetamines, then they get shot at with this like hyper bullet shootout. Like, okay, they want these guys dead. These cops dead as fuck. And there's a firefight. But then, someone throws in sleeping gas, and you go, well, okay, they're dead now. No. Now they're tied up. And then they get the pliers playing them like a James Bond movie. Or an older James Bond movie. And it's like, well, wait a minute. You were ready to kill them with like 80 million bullets into this room. And then you throw in a sleeping gas, and now you're like, yeah, actually, you know what, we changed our mind. We're changing our mind. We want to know what you know. And then Jean Reno is talking to a girl in an earpiece, but apparently none of the bad guys hear him talking, so I guess they're deaf, or something. Or maybe, because... Okay, you just say, well, she's talking, he hears it in his earpiece. But he's talking out loud, too. And I'm like, no, bad guy's like, what the hell is he talking? Who's he talking to? course, when you knock him out, you would think they would check to see if he had any fucking earpieces, but hey, what do I know? They're too busy to get not the Ark of the Covenant, not the Sankara stones, not the Holy Grail, but some book, and there's a booby trap. And kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the bad guys kill themselves. Really. Because, Jean Reno warns, no, this is a booby trap. Something going on here. Christopher Lee lifts the book. The whole place gets flooded. Our two leads, they climb up. Because they were tied to a rope, but they climb up, so they survive. Then I guess they thought, well, in the first film we had an avalanche of snow. Now we need an avalanche of water. Granted, this looked better than the first movie, I will say. The avalanche of water didn't look as bad as the avalanche of snow in the first movie. I also like the bit that they trap themselves in a room and they can't turn this old-ass wheel to get out. But Jean Reno took some of those amphetamines. And I don't know how... Someone who's a drug expert, please explain to me about the amphetamine stuff. Is there any truth to this? Please let me know. I know it's a dumb question, but I would just love to know, just for anyone who knows shit about it, They take it, and I guess it works immediately, because then they have the strength to turn this fucking door. And then I guess, thankfully, there's no side effects for taking this fucking amphetamine that doubles your strength, apparently. So it's like, oh my god, this... Why does it remind me of that one movie, River of Death, with Michael Dudikoff, that they're going down this river, then they find out at the end something to do with this Nazi experiment stuff. Although I couldn't get into River of Death. I would say I like this movie even more than that. Like, this is a movie that I didn't hate. I didn't hate. Like, if I had these films in like a 2-pack, I'd watch it again, probably, with the first one. The first film is a better actual movie. Like, I think the story's a bit better. It's a bit of a smoother translation of a plot. Here, I just see a lot of people getting annoyed by, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? How does that connect to that? I'm like, I don't know, but I gotta admit, I did have fun with it. I did have fun with it. Maybe people wouldn't feel that. I'm like, okay, this is kind of insane. I like this bit that Jean Reno, like one of these crazy-ass months in the grocery store, Jean Reno shoots and blows a part of the fucking guy's hand off. That was cool. Like I said, there's some nice shots, and there's a little bit of blood, and to me, it went at a good pace. I wasn't bored at all. Like I said, I kept me interested to go, what the fuck is going on? And I did the first half, like I said, it's kind of a big misdirection. Kind of a cheap shot. Not even kind of is a cheap shot. I mean, this needed more passes on the script. This needed rewrites. It's kind of like, let's just throw everything in, and hey, the Da Vinci Code is popular, we gotta throw that in. It's almost as if at first, this is like 2 scripts in one movie. It's like at first they wrote a sequel to The Crimson Rivers, which is the first half. These apostles, that they'd be murdered one by one. And then, oh shit, the Da Vinci Code is popular. Then they wrote a script of the Da Vinci Code style with the Crimson Rivers title. Then they said, just put both of them in the same movie. Your script is the first half, your script is the second half. Well, how do they link? Well, it's very thin. It's anorexic. It's Alan McBeal type of thin. So, take that for what you will. I do wish Vincent Cassel was back. I do wish there was more character development on Jean Reno. Like, you should give a bit more to work with. And, make the plot a little bit more sensible. But at the same time, I like the kind of the insanity that happened, and it entertained me. Again, maybe not in the way I wanted, but it entertained me. So, take that for what you will. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.